Hello, everyone. Welcome to Live Out Loud Wednesday. Tonight's discussion is he or she the one, and how do I know?
Ooh, that's a good topic.
It is very good. You want to go ahead and start? How do you
Yeah.
feel about that?
Um, I kind of thought about it this whole week. Um, how do we know if someone is the one? I don't know if I know that, to be honest. Um, I feel like I have an idea of what, might be what the one might be like. But do I know for sure? Am I expert? I don't think I would be that person to be able to comment and say that. But I would say first foremost, someone who makes you feel good. You're not making excuses for them. They have good intentions for you. Um, Ever since this individual has been in your life, things have gotten better. Um, of course, life be life, and sometimes there are going to be things that happen, good or bad, in any relationship, right? But I would say someone who is the one, it would be more good than bad, in my perspective. So I don't know. Maybe I need to come back after I hear a wife's perspective. Because she's kind of like the expert in the group right now, right? Because she's married
And a relationship coach.
and a relationship coach. So, yeah, let me allow Ebony to take it over, and then I will more than likely piggyback off of something she said. So, bye.
All right. You have to unmute your screen.
There is no concrete answer for that. There is no concrete answer for that because there are many variables that go into what would make a person be the one. You don't lock eyes with somebody like you do on the television, and then you're like, oh, and then you see stars and you hear all this music, and you don't, fa- oh, that's him. That's the one. You don't do that. That doesn't, but what I do believe that ties into it is spending time with somebody, getting to know them, um, kind of your dislikes, their dislikes, kind of like just getting to know somebody. I think a lot of times we spend a lot more time trying to surface grow with people versus getting to know the core of people. And yes, physically, oh dang, he's bomb or she's bomb or oh, that's physical is nothing because you really need to know how a person thinks, what a person really honestly has been through, what a person's background is, even. There's a lot of things that I've learned over the last year. Um, you really want to know where people come from, and before you get to incorporating who's for you and who's not. I think the surface stuff a lot of times makes us feel like people are the one for us, and then we go and then we try to force people to be what it is that we want them to be instead of actually getting to know who they really are. Um, Forcing people could be anything from, okay, I'm really attracted to you. Our sexual chemistry is amazing. We have fun together even when we go out sometimes or whatever. We don't fight. We don't argue. Like, you're cool. You're like my person. Like, oh, you're my person. But then you start to learn that that person drinks, or you start to learn that that person's abusive, or you start to learn other things about that, or that they are a cheater or struggle with any issues. And then you're like, okay, but I'm gonna make this has to be this, and even have kids with them. Oh, I'm gonna make this because now this is my baby daddy, or now we got kids, or now. and you're trying to force someone at that point. And again, that's not a person being the one, that's you trying to force somebody into that role of what you classify as the one. So I think this is a very good topic because it's one that we on the surface could answer that question, but I think if you're really looking for the person that you want to spend your life with or the one, you have to the one is not going to be perfect. It's not going to be what you think is going to be. It's going to be some digging, some homework, some getting raw with one another, like, and then still it's never going to be perfect. You're still going to have things that you don't like about that person or that person doesn't like about you, but you have to be able to figure out the parts of your puzzle pieces that connect to one another to make one puzzle. And a lot of people don't have the patience to do that, and that's why so many people struggle. um, like, oh, he's the one, or I thought he was but he's not, or she's the one, I thought she was. But the reality of it is how are we really trying to get to know these people that we get involved with, to even see where we even match up? So that's what I gotta say.
So what are some red flags and or some takeaways from if you were to meet a person and you're trying to have a connection with them and you think that things are lining up, but they're really not? Like, what are
Lack
the
of communication. Lack of communication is one big one. Like, people don't communicate. And what I mean by that is, you will communicate on the surface, but communicating with another person, like your needs or your wants, or how do we move forward if you can't communicate? That's a red flag. Your communication's off, because then you're trying to force somebody. You spend time trying to force somebody to communicate with you, and they're giving you the silent treatment, or that for me, the silent treatment. Don't give me the silent treatment. And also, honestly, I can't really deal with shoot. No, it's really communication. I'm trying to think. That's the big one, because it all goes when I'm trying to think about what I'm trying to say. That's still communication. So it's all about communication.
I got one.
Shoot.
Love bombing.
Yes, that
When
too.
everything is too good too soon.
God, yeah, that.
And it's like, let me take this mint out of my mouth. Hold on. I thought I needed it. I don't need it. Love bombing is when everything is too good too soon. And I think some people kind of complicate something that is good and natural and flowing with someone who is love bombing them. I mean, nobody wants a yes man, and nobody wants everything to be perfect and too good, because that's not life, And I think
Mhm.
sometimes people don't realize um, this person comes into your life, and you're getting to know each other, and like Ebony said, it is good to learn people and get to know them and have open communication. But there are some people who wait to hear what your wants and your likes and your needs are, and then they present as if that is exactly who they are, even though that's not really who they are. So it's kind of just being able to really notice, is this person genuine? Especially when you meet their friends and family. Is that the same exact thing that they're saying about this person? Or, if you say something about this person and everybody's kind of looking at you like, he did what? It might be a trap, girl. Slow down. But no, I mean, I've had, situations when I was dating. Clearly I'm still dating because I'm not married. But when I was, dating before I was in a serious relationship where, people will come off as one way in the beginning. And then once you actually get to know them, they're a whole completely different person. Like Ebony said, they start to be, this alcoholic, and, they might have some type of issues that you don't know that they, nobody wants to show you all the bad things in the beginning, which is funny. When I when I was in my younger years, I would tell people all of my bad first, and I would get that out the way. Just because, for one, I'm a Gemini, I wanted to be different. So that was just my thing. Like, nope, I'm sarcastic, I'm selfish. Like, I said all the bad things in the beginning only because I didn't want someone to be like, well, in the beginning, you were such a nice, sweet girl. And, 2 months down the line, now you're married. I never wanted that. So I was always, honest in the beginning. I don't know if that was a gimmick that I had. I don't know. But that's what I honestly used to do. And when I was really being the person I was and being me, which I always am, it wasn't a shock, because I can be a lot sometimes. And I think letting people know how you really are in the beginning is the best thing, because people have that opportunity to say, okay, is this something I even want to deal with? Right? Yeah, I like you. Yeah, you look good. Yeah, we have good chemistry, but do I want to deal with all your stuff? Right? And it's better to give people that opportunity to deal with that in the beginning and say, no, you got too much baggage. I'm good. And that happened. I mean, I was dating an individual, and once I said everything that was going on in my life, they was like, no, I'm good. And I was like, well, thank you. I can respect that. I appreciate you doing that, and kept it moving.
It's better than that than a person trying to portray themselves to be something different, and then you waste all this time and find out that they are nothing of what they say they are.
Nothing. Yeah. And that's happened. I mean, what is that? Imposter syndrome, when people can act like they're this great person and come sweep you off your feet with roses and dates, and then
That was just the first month.
No, baby, that's narcissism.
4 months down the line, yeah, that too. 4 months down the line, now they're broke and they don't have a job that they said they were on vacation from. I have
It's gaslighting and narcissism and all kinds of different variables that tie into that.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think the perfect individual for me is just somebody that can actually take the time to get to know who I am and learn how to dance through all of my different storms, as well as myself even learning how to dance through somebody else's storms. Just because I don't view myself as a perfect person, nowhere near. I have a ton of different flaws, and I don't want to have to continue to water myself down to be able to think that I'm going to find that person. Like, no, that person for me is going to be able to handle me at 100%, and it just will be what it is.
No, I agree. I mean, for, let's see, how many years was that? Two of my major relationships, I will say I was always who they wanted me to be. Um, and then I was always, in a battle. It was a constant battle of trying to prove to them, afterwards, like, no, this isn't how I am, but, I can be that for you if you need me to be that. And it's like, it was exhausting. It was really exhausting. So that's why I said I don't know if I'm the best expert on saying is he the one and how do I know, because it's like, I don't know. I mean, every day.
it's a topic that can't it's a topic, that's why it's a good topic, because there's so many different broad ideas that can be and shared and thought out. There's really no black and
Right.
white answer for it, or you know yes or no. Like, it's just not a yes or no thing, and it's something that you have to be with somebody, grow with somebody, and kind of see what that is. Growing with somebody does not mean perfection with anybody. You're not going to, there's non-negotiables. You're just there's just non-negotiables. There's things that you are not going to accept in your life, and that's okay. I mean, sometimes you might feel a person is the one and they don't feel that way about you, or vice versa. Sometimes somebody might feel like you're the one for them, but you're not feeling that for them. So it's like there's no mutual feeling there. So how do you explain that? Because we can't. It's just a really broad topic. And I like the fact that it's broad because so many different minds and thought process to how to even, I guess, come up with that answer, even though it's not really an answer. It's kind of dope to hear everybody's different perspective on it and what you feel is the one for you. How does that work for you? Like, what do you, when you, like Davina just explained it, like, I guess we can explain what would that classify for ourselves. For me, I think the one for me is I went through so much junk in my life, right? With all my previous relationships. And I just felt like I'm at the place in my life where I don't want to be in a situation where I don't have peace. Like, you cannot be disturbing my peace. That right there at my age now, it constitutes being the one. As long as we are getting along, we can have fun, we can get through our BS together, but at the same time, peace. I need peace in my life, in my old age. So if you can grant me peace and you're good to me and I loving and all of those things, then that's what classifies as the one for me, because that's what I need in my life.
I agree. I definitely can agree with that. Coming from chaotic relationships, I will say this is the most at peace I've ever been in my life. Sometimes it's kind of scary because you're always on guard, especially when, I mean, you have previous trauma. You kind of, feel like, is this something, always waiting on something bad to happen. But I've learned with a lot of growth and trials and tribulations that anything that is going to be regardless. So you can't wait on anything to happen, bad or good. It just has to be what it is. So,
Yeah.
yeah, peace is definitely top tier for me. Also, just someone who is motivated. I mean, I can't be me with someone who is not a motivated person. So, and then I have to be able to learn. If I can learn something from you, like, what are we doing, dog? Like,
Right.
Hey, you might learn something that you don't even want to learn, though.
yeah, no, nope. That is not conducive for my life. I don't need it.
No, I have many, many, many storms, many different issues in life. And kind of like I've said, like I just need my peace. Like I need when I get off of work for me not to be needing to do anything and to just be able to regain myself back, like my peace of mind. Um, to be able to let everything go from work and to be able to transition into my home life. And so usually when I get home is when the phone goes off and I turn on my movies and I just want to sit there and relax. I don't want to do nothing. And so my pieces don't ask me to do nothing until I am ready. And you'll know when I'm ready. And I also like a guy that can actually pay attention to who you really are. I think I was in a relationship for 5 years and the person didn't know that I knew how to cook or clean. And those are my two hobbies in life. I love to cook and I love to clean. And it was like, how do you not know this about me? And so that means you weren't paying any attention to me to know of what it is that brings me joy.
He can't be for the streets. Dot. He can't be the one for me if he's for the streets.
Yeah,
Dot.
absolutely not.
Look, I'm not doing it. I am not doing that. That's one I can't do. I can't do that.
Yeah,
But
no,
no.
no, no, thank you.
So yeah, I mean, somebody I can have fun with at this place in my life. Because, like I said, I'm older now. There's so many different things that back when I can go back 10 years, 10 years ago, what was a non-negotiable 10 years ago wasn't a non-negotiable till I was removed from the relationship I was in 10 years ago. So you could definitely learn from people that you're with what you won't tolerate and won't be the one, for the next one. Like, what you're not going to deal with because you're like, oh, no, I'm not about to deal with that. And I'm not about to deal with that. Um, but yeah, that's what I need. And that's what I'm honestly there. We've gone through some stuff, okay, at our ages here, and we're all different ages, but we've gone through some things, even in our current situations. Let's be real. We've gone through some stuff. But the thing about it is if that stuff is stuff that constitute and counts a person out, no. Because do you have that peace that you're searching for? Well, the answer to that is yes for me. So it's like you have life, you go through things, but I've never felt the connection in my life that I feel now with my husband that I felt anywhere. Like I've never felt that anywhere else prior to him. So, and I actually had a little girl crush on my husband in our teen years. So that tells you, like when I say, no, that's that little surface, you're the one stuff that I'm talking about, that surface feeling of the lust, like, ooh, that's it right there. Like, but that's why I said in my vows when I married him, I fell in love with you in physical form 20, well, at that time it's 23 years ago, 25 years ago, I fell in love with you in physical form. We're at Taste, Minnesota. I was with my cousins. We got stopped by four of them. I turned around, just like the movies. It's like, ooh, ooh. He was the one that was talking to me. I was like, hi. I was like, his eyes is fake. That kind of stuff. And I'm like, I'm like, I got to have him. And then I started talking to him, and then I was like disinterested. But over the years, every time I seen him, I was like, oh, I got to have him. He's got to be it. It's him. Because I'm seeing him here. It's coincidental. It's him. It's him. That's that surface stuff I'm talking about. But when I actually got to meet him and, got connected to him after years and years later, and we went on, well, no, we hung out. I'm not going to say we went on a date first. We hung out and then we started dating each other. I was like, man, this vibe is like one I ain't never experienced before. So is this something that's real? Like, can this even be possible? Because we enjoy each other's company. We enjoy each other's time. My ex told me all the time, you're never going to find nobody that could just do normal stuff with you and enjoy it. And he was wrong. So, I mean, my one is somebody that I can vibe with, enjoy things with, spend time with, talk to, play with, but at the same time, like, I can be myself because, like, I was not able to be myself. Like I was always running around doing what other people wanted me to do. And I don't have that issue like anymore where I have to pretend to like what other people are doing or, the situation I was in prior was just like, I'm not even recognizing myself anymore. And that's not something that I want for my life. So my one has to be somebody that I can connect with on a level where it's like, no, it's no perfection there, but it's like, man, you get me and I get you, and we just love each other and we do right by each other, and peace with each other. That's the one for me. Again, no answer because we all got a different.
Yeah, no, I can agree when you were saying about when you first first seen Rashi. It was like a, love at first sight type thing. Um, I won't say my interaction was like that. It was kind of more like it's kind of hard to explain, but it was more of like an energy thing. Um, this was when we first started dating, and it was like something just clicked in me where I was like, he's different. This is when we just were dating. And of course I was, talking to other people because we were just first started to date. So it wasn't anything concrete. We hadn't made anything official. And something in my mind was like, you have to cut everyone else off, and give this person a chance. And I honestly, subconsciously did that on my own, just because. And I don't remember who I told at that time, but I was like, I can't do him like that because he's
Oh
different.
my God.
I literally did. I was like, I can't do him like that. And I was like, even if that's not what he was doing at that time, that was what I, wanted my perspective of him to be, and the interaction with him. Like, I just want to be focused on him. So I know if this is what it is. And at that time, that was also me wanting to give love a try again. And we both had just, got out of bad relationships, and we connected on that level of, when we first started talking, it was literally us talking. We were dating. There was no physical anything at first. We literally had that open dialogue of, hey, this is what I've been through. These are the struggles I had with the person that I was dealing with. I became less of a person behind that. And now this is where I am. And it was completely honest at that time. Like, I'm broken. I would like to be able to be healed at this moment, but I'm broken from what I've been through. Now, where do we go from here? And we built that friendship based off of that, and just bonded and connected. But it was just so weird to hear a person had been through similar things that I went through. Of course, nothing is going to be the same exact situation, but to meet an individual that, don't have no kids and actually just wanted to love a woman, right? And then they went through something similar to what I wanted to go through with the man I was trying to love, and just trying to love him. And it was like, wow, are we supposed to be here at this moment? Like, it was like one of those things like, okay, God, did you send him? Because, and ever since then, I will say he is my best friend. And that is one thing that I will say is completely different about this relationship is he is actually my best friend. Do best friends always get along and have the greatest things to say about each other? Absolutely not. Are we perfect? No. But did we just make 6 years and we have never broken up and it actually is a real thing? Yes. So I will say, do I know if someone is the one? No, I'm gonna give that to God, and leave God to be the one to make that decision. But I feel like I'm on the right path.
Path is good. Path is good.
I will say my relationship is still too new and fresh to be able to say, do I know who the one is for me? Mm. Do we go through our rocky roads? Yes, we do already. And I think it's just, we're still just getting to know each other. I
I was gonna
appreciate
ask,
him though.
let me ask y'all this question since you just said that. Sorry to interrupt you. When do you think you actually know a person, or do you ever?
I don't think that I will ever truly 100% know a person, but I want to know what his good days look like versus what his bad days look like. Um, I don't want to only know him in one form. I want to know him through all of his different emotions. I want to know what that looks like. I want to know when you get angry, like what are you going to do, or what does that mean? My number one out is I don't do the violence. Not at all. We can yell at each other all damn day long, but the minute I feel like you're gonna try to do something to me, we're done. Um, I don't do the violence at all, and I make that clear from the beginning that I will lead you to believe that we're gonna go to sleep tonight, but you will be packed up and up out of here. You won't even know. I don't do it. Like I automatically, when I start to feel like you will do something to me, I'm already planning my exit stage. And that is a trigger just because I have been in an abusive relationship. And so I will never just go ahead if I think that a guy is going to put his hands on me and be physically abusive. Am I going to tell him that this is over? No, I've been done already called half of my cousins and we're gonna pack you up and get you together today. Like you will be gone and up out of here. I'm not doing that.
So violence is your deal breaker.
It is 100% my deal breaker. I don't do that. I'll take a cheater over a beater. But I don't even want that, you know. Um, I'm an eye for an eye kind of girl. And those are triggers for me. If you do something to me, I feel like I have to get you back. And I hold grudges for a very long time. And I don't know. I don't even want to have to live life like that. I just want to be able to be free of all of that, you know. I want to be able to really 100% get to know who I really am. I've for so long have lived for everybody else that I lost myself somewhere in the mix of that. So my hobbies just slowly went away and things that I enjoyed doing or people that I enjoyed going around just slowly just kind of disappeared. And so I appreciate Derek for just allowing me to figure out who I even am. And we laugh about it all the time because I'll tell him like, "Oh, you don't know me," and he's like, "Girl, there's not even a roadmap for you." Like today it's one direction, tomorrow it's another direction, and I like that about it. That he understands that today I might be okay with it, but tomorrow it might be different because I'm still learning who I am. And so he dances in most of my storms with me. Do I like everything about him? I don't. But we both have to make those changes. And the one thing that I did realize of in the mix of when you meet someone, when you spend most of your time focused on this person needs to change and this person has to do this and that and the next thing, then you kind of step away from where it is that you truly are going. Because if I was interested in you in the beginning, and there was something about you, then I should be wanting you to just always remain true to who you are, regardless of anything in life, and make those changes and those alterations on your time because I don't want anybody trying to change me and alter me. So I shouldn't be doing it to anybody else. And so now instead of me focusing on, you know, the things that Derek does that I don't like, I'm more or less focused on what I can do to fill those voids within myself. And then when he starts to notice, like, oh, she's not calling me or she's not harassing me, she's not asking me to do this or that. And it's like, nope, I can get it on my own. Then he starts to realize, like, okay, well, at the end of the day, if she can do it all on her own, then what am I going to be around for? Well, you're going to have to prove that you need to be here. And if you can't, and at the end of the day, if I'm doing it all by myself, I might as well be by myself. And we've had like 100 of those discussions. And so he knows now, like if I have to clean up the house after work by myself, nope, I'm going to sleep by myself, go in the spare room. And he hates it, but it is what it is. Like that just means, you know, you participate. If I went to work just like you went to work, when we both get home, there's things still need to be done. And this isn't a woman or a man thing. And I think that that was another big thing in my life is I've always, within my family, relationships and everything else, have always been surrounded about this woman and man thing. Like, oh, a woman has a place and a man has a place. I don't want to have a place because I don't want to be, you know, a woman in a pantsuit having to play that role, nor do I want to feel like I'm the one that's supposed to stay home and take care of the kids and cook and clean. Like, no, I work just like you do. So we're going to do all of this together. We have certain dates. He just cooked tonight. Um, he likes cooking. I don't know if I like his cooking, but he likes cooking.
Well, we got you on record saying you don't like Derek's cooking, so
There's certain things he can. He can't cook everything. So we're both just learning together. So I don't know. I'm not an expert in anywhere in that area.
It's
I,
not, but the thing is the topic that we chose is not a topic that requires expertise. It's really a topic that just, you can kind of be free with your feelings and how you feel about it and where you are in your life. Like, honestly, like, I when you think about it, people change, right? So we're always constantly growing. We're growing into somebody else. Like who I was and who my husband was in our relationship in 2017 is not who we were in 2019. It's not who we are now. Our marriage, since we got married, we're not who we were when we got married. But what I do know is that we are strong through everything that we, even kids and different things that we have that have occurred in the time that we've been together 7 years. So 7 years, this shoot, well, okay, so we started talking August 16th of 2016, so that's 7 years, right? Or 8 years.
It's 7 because we
we
were
be,
17.
we became a couple officially in February of 2017, though we were coupling anyway. So I always incorporate August as something too, because it's like we were together. He was still talking to people and I was still talking to people. But when I first initially spent time with him, I was done mentally with anybody and dealing with anybody. I was just done. And then um, it took him a little bit, several months to be exact, to be done doing what he was doing. But I was still a married woman on paper. I couldn't expect him to make life changes and nothing. So I didn't put demands on him, and I didn't put anything on him. I let him do him. And my friends were like, "Oh, as soon as that ink is completely signed and sealed or whatever, you watch what happens." And everybody that said that was right. As soon as that was completely over, it's like he can't really take me seriously. I'm still, what I look like checking him about what he's got going on in his life. But I do know I'm the one for him for sure. So I guess when you both are the one for each other, I guess that's a good thing. When I say that is because my husband never considered marrying nobody. My husband never even had a real relationship that was anything. So when I say that, I know, because he's told me. I know how he is with me. I know how he's shown me over the years. I wouldn't, I don't know. I almost feel like it sounds crazy, but I almost feel like I was supposed to be with him. Even though, like, it's not like TV or whatever, but in life, but I almost feel like I was supposed to be with him because of just how everything panned out and how it worked out and just the connection after the fact. Like, it's the way I feel about him, I've never felt about nobody. Like I'd hate to think about what the world would be like if I didn't have him in my world or in my space. Like I never felt like that about anybody. It was just like, oh, here you go. Are you gonna leave or am I gonna have to leave you? It's kind of like that. Or it would be a reason like, oh, I'm staying for this or I'm staying for that. It was never like I would be like hurt and devastated if something were to happen and I, didn't have my husband. Like it's really like a devastating feeling. And it's also like one of those things like I'll lay there with him and I'll just stare at him. I'll just stare at him. I ain't never used to just lay there and stare at nobody, but I'll just stare at him. And when I'm staring at him, I feel like I can see through his soul. It's weird, y'all. Y'all don't even want to go there because we go real deep talking about seeing in souls and stuff. But that's
No,
my person.
it's funny you say that though because I've had those moments and I'm like, Devin, are you tripping? But it's just one of those like it's a pure good feeling of just looking at someone and just knowing, like you were saying, you're evolving with each other versus, you were one way and he's evolved and now you're trying to figure out how to catch up. I think that's a good, what is the word I'm looking for? starting point and ongoing point to be able to look at someone's relationship and say they grew together. They love each other enough to be for each other at every point in life, because I know I for sure am not the same person I was, 6 years ago. And just being able to have someone, I mean, the last, let's see, year and a half, 2 years, I have unpacked and evolved and been through so many different roller coasters in life to where if I was with someone else, I'm pretty sure it would have been done by now. Just because some people will look at, a person's situation and be like, I'm not dealing with that. Like, especially when you're not married. And that's why I feel like, I have met my person. Do I want to say that and then I jinx something? No, of course not. But is whatever is going to happen in my life, going to happen? Of course. But I do feel as though who I am with and who I have been with is who I'm supposed to be with. And I do genuinely feel that in my heart. So I've never had a feeling of needing to be anywhere else other than where I am. And that just lets me know that I'm doing the right thing in my life. So it's just like that gut, inner feeling where you're like, this feels good, like
Feels good even when it don't feel good.
when I'm actually being loved and heard, and even in the midst of an argument, when I say you didn't even hear me, and then he repeats everything that I say, I'm like, oh, I guess he really did hear me, but he and I had to learn that about him. He's one of them people that me and him are complete opposites. So I could be having the time of my life and he'll just be sitting there, and I had to learn that he's having a good time, but that is how he processes things. So we had a lot of back and forth about that in the beginning of the relationship. Like, I would give him a birthday cake and I'm like, happy birthday. And he's like, thanks.
Oh, that's me.
And I was like, oh, you don't like it? So then I'm like trying to scramble and find different things to make him happy. And he's like, no, I really genuinely like it. And I'm like, but your face is saying something completely different. I literally had to learn that because it would bother me for the longest. Like, he does not like it. He's not having a good time. What's going on? And he's like, I am. Just relax. Relax. Do your thing. I'm going to do mine. Like, here he come in with the face right now.
That's those Scorpios for you.
Yeah. But it's just funny how when you genuinely get to know a person, their wants, their likes, their needs, that's when is this equally yoked? Remember, I keep saying that because that is one of them things that you have to go back to. Like, is this person equally yoked with me? There's lots of people who look good and have things going on, but is this your person? Does it actually go together good, or are you trying to force something?
That's
yeah. I will say I tried to force relationships out of people, which they were there only because it was convenient for them. But is it really where they wanted to be? And you really have to pay attention to someone's actions and the way that they, do things with you to really be like, this dude don't really mess with me like that. He might say he loves me and does things, because he knows this is what I want, but he would rather not have to do it.
Or he might mess with you like that and be overdoing it to where he just wants you to live in a box.
Yeah. That too. Yeah. I've been there. Ain't seen family in weeks. Ain't did prisoner in your home and you don't even realize it. Like,
yep.
Outside. Is that sunlight?
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking about my previous marriage, and we never went or did anything together. I think we went out to maybe like 2 clubs the whole 7 times we were together, 7 years we were together. One time we weren't even married yet, and I jumped out of the car on him. We were on the freeway because he acted a fool in the club because I was talking to somebody. He thought somebody was talking to me, whatever. And then the second time, We went out. It was like towards the end of our marriage. It was a Gemini bash at Valentino's in South St. Paul. And in the middle of that club, I remember him coming up to me saying, "Don't be mad if they own me tonight." And I remember thinking in my mind, like, I don't give a damn. And when I knew I felt like that, I was like, "Ooh, this ain't the person. This ain't that." Like, seriously, this was like maybe 6 months before everything came to head. But 2 times, those are the only 2 times that we went outside our kids. Other than that, all I did was raise my kids, took care of my kids, made his meals, watched TV, maybe went to some movies with each other, but I never enjoyed life. I never spent time with him in a sense of enjoyment, ever. And then when I look back on that, it's a really sad way to spend a lot of time with somebody, it is. And then, I leave that situation and I get involved with this person who is like me, like the exact same thing that my husband has said I couldn't have or wouldn't have. You ain't gonna find nobody that don't drink and don't sit up and can just listen to music and be good with that. That don't exist. Well, yes, it does, because all we do is sing to each other. We're always singing.
I heard something very similar to that.
Yeah.
Nobody is going to be able to deal with you and your attitude.
Yeah. And isn't it crazy how it's crazy because people will put that venom out there on you, but no, I found out exactly a me, a male version of a me.
Yep.
And it's great because in that aspect, because I don't have to worry about certain things like I had to worry about in the past, where it's like I could put my liquor down and it not be gone, or I could do, that types of stuff. So it's very, I don't know, it's a very good feeling. Is he the one? Absolutely. Look, this is number 3. Let me tell you something. He ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere because we're not doing that. The only way he going somewhere is in a bag.
Oh.
And he might not go that way. I might embalm him and keep him.
That'll be a little too creepy. I'll be like, all right, we need to get her a therapist and some medications.
No, because Norman Bates did it with his mother.
She was on vacation with us. Us who?
That is the movie topic we're gonna do. But anyway, we're gonna do Psycho.
I will get you medications.
What I was gonna say earlier though about when I was told no one's gonna want to deal with you and your attitude. Why did I have an attitude?
Right.
And I think that's one thing people don't realize is that you get different versions of people. And I will say this, till the last breath of my body is that the version of anyone I had is going to be for me and me only. So maybe someone knew someone before me or after me. You're not going to get this person the way I got them.
No.
I know Ebony knows that for sure. for sure. Like, I mean, people bring different people out of people. So, did I give him the same attitude that I gave that individual that told me that? Absolutely not. Because he wasn't doing what he was doing. So he's never even seen that side of me. Because I don't even have to have that attitude with him because we just don't deal with those problems.
Right.
2 completely different types of guys. So I have a whole different type of relationship. So it's crazy. It really went as like a repeat tape in my head though. Nobody's gonna be able to deal with you and your attitude. Nope. Nobody's gonna be able to love you like I love you, and you're always gonna come back to me. And it's like, no.
Once I'm gone, I'm gone.
No.
Everybody is that saying that you might have had the same man as somebody, but you're not gonna have had that same man. Can't nobody tell me that they have had my husband, because the man that they had, my husband ain't that to me, and vice versa. Everybody, I'm not that to him. I'm not the same. Like, we don't have the same behaviors, like you just said. It's just We don't, because people bring out different things. Some things are great, some things are bad. I haven't had an argument in probably 8 years. My husband don't argue. He don't argue. I don't argue. My ex-husband's like, all you want to do is argue. I'm like, dang, I didn't say nothing to you. What are you doing? Then I'm arguing at that point, and I'm like, why am I arguing with you?
Well, I'm the head member of the debate team, so
That makes sense.
if you want to argue, just let me know.
When's your birthday again?
Listen, you know what my birthday is.
Yeah.
No, I'm not bad like I was though. I used to be bad. I used to be a nagger. I can admit that. I used to be a nagger. I used to be. I tried to be clingy and things like that, but it's like the reasons for that was because of this person's lifestyle that I was dealing with, and the way that this person treated me. So, I mean, that's the type of person he brought out of me. I always needed to be on edge and naggy. And who is that? What are you doing over there? Just because of his lifestyle, of what he chose to do. So thank God I don't have to deal with those types of things now, because like we all said, we need that peace in our life. And for the last 6 years, I haven't had to look out my window and check to see who's following me and all of those unnecessary extra things that, come with dealing with certain types of people. So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
A breath of fresh air to be able to say, ooh.
You do these things.
Ain't nobody kicking in my door. I ain't got to think about none of that.
Right.
I didn't ever have to worry about somebody kicking in my door, but I did always have somebody following me. And so, I have that little piece on me that when I say I'm going to have girls' night, I have to make sure that it's really having girls' night. Like, you're not chilling outside in the front. And so,
oh, Lord.
I'd be like, ain't he right there? And she'd be like, he's here. He's right there.
Wow.
Yeah.
You make sure we all get to our cars safe. And everything else. It was horrible. And so it's a trigger for me. And that was one thing that I had to realize, that everybody is different. And so I carried that over into this relationship. And when I would say that I'm going out, I thought that was clarification enough that I am going out, not we are going out. And so Derek would always just show up and I would be like, no. And it would start an argument. And then finally I had to come home and tell him, like, Derek, that's a trigger. I used to be boxed in a relationship and I could only go out if I was outside with him. He never participated in what it was that I was doing, but he had to be present at all times. And I said, and so that's a trigger. I should not have to carry you everywhere I go.
Like a bouncer in the club.
Yeah.
He was, literally.
Oh, that's why he had that mentality.
We would drive separate cars.
He wasn't really a bouncer. He acted like
he would act like it. Yes, no. We would drive two separate cars, and I would say I'm going out. He would tell me, no, I'm not. And then finally I would just say, all right, well, whatever. Let me just go by myself. And whatever you choose to do is whatever you choose to do. Because at the end of the day, I knew that wherever I went, he was still just going to show up. I could drive out of town and he's going to be in the car right behind me driving. Like, I'm not going to get away from him. He's going to be wherever it is that I am. And he used to come into the bar and he would just sit a couple tables down and he would drink his drink and just watch us.
Wow.
Like, if you get up, you move to the dance floor, he's on the dance floor. He wouldn't come and bother us, but just knowing, like, I can't be trusted to be by myself, that was tormenting and torturous.
I could see that.
And so I carried it over into this relationship and not realizing that I didn't have that conversation. And so communication is the key. And once I was able to communicate it with Derek, he's like, hey, you want to go out with the girls? I'll see you later. Just let me know when you're going to be back. And I was like, all right. And so we now have that understanding of, if I say that I'm going out with the girls, that means I'm going out with the girls, not we. Like, you need to go and hang with the guys and I'm going to hang with the girls and I'll meet you back at home.
Yeah.
And so a lot of my triggers, I know that not a lot of people probably will deal with and tolerate, but I know that there's a person for everyone.
Hmm.
And so I'll figure it out one day.
You'll figure it out one day.
One day.
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
funny. What I realized that I didn't know is like, I'm trying to think of the way to say it without saying it like I'm being judgmental, because I've at one point went through this in relationships. But being in my current relationship and being out and around other women who are dating guys that are similar to the type of guys I used to date, noticing the things that they had to go through, like the phone calls throughout the day while they're gone, the check-ins, and the where y'all at now, what you doing there, who's all there, all of that type of stuff. I didn't realize that that is not healthy.
Yeah.
I didn't realize
Yeah.
that until I experienced, like, I always am one of the people like, hey, I'm finna run here or I'm finna do this. Not because of me feeling like I have to tell him, but just a safety mechanism of, Devin said she went to Walmart. If something happens at Walmart, everybody will know that I'm there. You know what I mean? That's one of those types of things.
But
But
sometimes though you can do that though, and it can be mistaken of that the one time that you don't do that of something's wrong.
no, I haven't never experienced that. I've never experienced that.
But
Not
no,
in my
I'm saying like yes, I call or text Derek whenever plans have changed and we're going somewhere else. But then there has been times to where I've just went along with the flow, like, oh, we're gonna go from this bar to the next bar, and not have texted him or called him, and then he's blowing my phone up all night and irritating the heck out of me, and to where I'm like just yelling at him, and he's like, I thought something was wrong. Like I went there and you wasn't there. And it's like, oh, I told you to show up. Like, and we changed plans. And so I don't know. I think that communication, and communication is like 100% key of figuring out who your partner is and
Mhm.
learning who you are through that process.
And
Yeah.
just remembering that you're going to continue to grow and you're going to continue to evolve. So being with somebody that you can withstand watching their growth, and then you grow as well, and then you not grow apart. You continue to connect and build off of what you're doing as you're growing, because you can't grow and then they grow and then you don't grow together and still expect to be together or want to be together. It just don't work that way. You also have to incorporate growing together in the mix of growing as individuals, because you got to grow as individuals too. But it's again, no answer for that. There's no answer for this question, except for you have to get to know somebody, and y'all need to be able to be honest with your desires, wants, needs, communicating these things, and that's what's going to really determine where you need to be and where you don't need to be. And sometimes it doesn't, because we're so messed up as human beings from past traumas and childhood abuse and childhood traumas, to sometimes we accept certain things that aren't even good for us,
Yeah.
based off of what we've gone through or endured as, as children even.
Yep.
So it's like it's a really touchy thing. You just have to just actually get to know an individual and actually see what's up, truthfully, like you really do. um I honestly, I got lucky in a sense of, because I say this, when I one thing that grinds my gears, and I know that it's a kill me thing: infidelity. Like, I infidelity to me, it feels like you ran me over with a train and I'm dead. I'm just dead already. You tell me I'm already dead because you didn't kill me. Because I can't fathom that. That's like something that I just can't fathom. I can work with some other things. I can get through some other things, but that's not for me. So you will not be the one in that instance. Again, things that happen in our lives where we're like, nah,
Yeah.
but we all have our negotiables, non-negotiables, or whatever. And yes, toxic, whoever said that.
Dee
A
Dee.
lot of stuff is toxic. So you have to be
You know what?
careful.
One thing that I thought of when you were talking was also that I think some people need to realize that you can find someone who is your person at that season in your life. And
Yep.
then when you do grow and you evolve, and like you said, sometimes people grow and evolve and they grow and evolve apart. That just is what it is sometimes. And I think recognizing that that season is over with certain people is better to part ways when you realize it versus trying to stick things out and then it just becomes a toxic circle that you're in because who wants to really, yeah, you guys loved each other in high school, but now that you're 45 and 50 and now you no longer like the same things, you can't stand each other, being around this individual is like pulling teeth. It's like, okay, it's okay to hang it up. I mean, some things just are not meant to be for the long haul. And I think that's something people need to realize. It's not even necessarily something bad that happened, quote unquote. It might just be that some people have grown apart. And it's
Yep.
okay to say that. But it's better to say that earlier than later, in my perspective, because I would rather something like that be known ahead of time versus waiting another 10 years that you've been miserable with this person and it's just because you have history. So
Right.
history does not mean that you just need to stay with this person just for the sake of it. So yeah, that is my thought. Any takeaways that you would? Oh, Dee Dee said something. Outgrowing someone is definitely a thing. Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I mean, even friendships, right? There are some friendships that are only for a certain season in your life, and it's okay to realize, like, this is not the same friendship it was, in high school or kindergarten, and now you don't even, we don't even speak the same language no more. And it's like,
Right.
hang it up. You don't have to hate that person or have any type of bad outlook on that individual's life just to say we just ain't best friends no more. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
think that's something people maybe we need to have a discussion on that, a podcast on, outgrowing friendships because I
Didn't
think
we do that already?
I think we did do that already.
outgrowing friendships
Just
specifically,
we
or maybe
did.
we do something like a season something. Because it could be a job, it could be a relationship, it could be, outgrowing the state that you live in. I feel like there's just a lot of people hang on to things in life and they're miserable and don't even realize it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once you get to a certain age, though, I think you start to understand that in order to break up with somebody, you don't have to have that blowout, right?
Right.
In order
Break
for
up,
this,
friendships, all
yeah,
that. Yes.
if I once loved you, I should always love you. And if I love you enough, I should be able to love you without me. Um, and understanding the different kind of loves that there is.
Hmm.
And so I think that once you start to get older, you start to realize that, like, I don't have to be ready to, when I see you, want to fight or want to ruin your life or want to wish ill intentions on you. No, I love you enough to know that this just isn't working, and I wish the best for you.
Yeah.
You have to get to a level of maturity for that because sometimes people in their younger years, it always has to be some kind of strife for them to fall out. And then they're just not friends no more. Versus when you get older, I think we start to realize that we've had all this ample time to outgrow one another and to just be done with one another. And it be, something that's not painful or I want to, like she said, beat you down when I see you or talking smack about each other. Look, let's just not deal with one another. Let's be done. And if I see you, I'll speak to you and I'll say hello and keep it moving. We don't have to have that. Because in the 20s and younger years, most oftentimes you in relationships or whatever, it's always something behind it because we don't know how to not cling to things at that age, because the only way we will just fall out would be because it's some drama involved. Like, we wouldn't know how to separate. I'm thinking back to young me, 24, 25-year-old me. If I stopped dealing with somebody, it was because of something that happened with them. It was never, I never was sitting there at 24 like, oh my gosh, we've just grown apart and we don't have anything in common anymore. And so that wasn't my mindset at 25.
No.
At
Like now,
25, you just didn't know how to control your emotions.
Right.
And now
correct.
that you've grown, now you understand what the emotions are and how to control them.
Right.
Right. Because there's several people that I think of right now off the top of my head. I'm like, I love you, but I don't
It ain't.
necessarily, right. I don't, no love lost, but
Yeah.
so, you know. One important variable that we did not mention in the one relationships. Anybody know what that is?
What is that?
What? Keeping God first?
It is a relationship with God, y'all.
I knew it was something like that.
Yeah. And I'm not saying because everybody doesn't know God, right?
Yeah.
He gonna make sure you do, though.
With God or whoever your higher spirit is.
Your higher spirit gonna make sure you know.
Right. And even like Devin said, though, even if your higher spirit lets you know that this is the one, doesn't mean that might be your one forever.
Right.
I felt like my husband was the one. I've known him for over 22 years, and I felt like he was my one. And we grew apart. We didn't see each other and where our growth was going. It started to turn into unnecessary arguments, which then at some point I think we both just were like, you know what? We have never argued before. We have never yelled at each other before. So what are we doing? And we had to at that point make that decision that it's time just to go ahead and let this go. It
Yeah.
is what it is. I think that learning how to understand your emotions and how to handle them and what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. Like, we shouldn't have to go through those blowouts, but I honestly thought like, oh my gosh, like this, my God sent him and this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I never in my life thought about getting married. I always kind of dibble dabbled in it and planned things and then was like no. I always kind of envisioned myself as a person that I thought was going to be alone for the rest of my life, just because there was a lot of things that I did not like in my partners. So when I would get proposed to, I would say yes. I would do the whole planning and everything. But in my mind, I always just knew that I'm not doing this. But when he asked, I didn't second guess it. There was no hesitation. It was that, yes, I will. And so I thought that he was my one. And it turned out that he might have been my one just for that moment. I needed something at that time. And God knew that I needed something at the time. I needed to be able to rely and depend on somebody mentally. And he gave me that person that I needed for that moment.
Well, I've never been proposed to yet. Ever. Ever.
I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Like,
Yeah,
because it might make that one time just that much more specialer.
that's true.
I've been proposed to 3 times. I've been married 3 times. And I say that to say my first marriage, we were so young. We were babies, yo. Like, and I say that because we were, my daughter's father, we were babies. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. There was no blueprint. We didn't know. We should have stayed friends, We probably would still be friends today. My second marriage, I was there in my 30s and I was in a better place and I wanted to be married. I wanted to be a wife. As you can see, I always wanted to be a wife, but none of it ever felt right. Like, none of it felt right until now. Actually, like, really, really, really feel like I went through all those experiences to know what it felt like for real. So when people are like, yeah, you've been married. Yeah, I've been married before, but have I ever been married for real?
Yeah.
No, not until now. Like
So
now it's like it's real, like right up close and in
all
my
in how
face.
you intake it.
Yep, that's
So
definitely.
I
So
I don't know how many times that I've been proposed to, but I know that each time it was like not never something that I really wanted. So I didn't grow up like, oh, I want to get married. Like, was it something that I just wanted to experience so that I could say that I'd done it? Yeah, but I always wanted it to be with that right person. And I always felt like there's not a person on this earth that can handle Davina at 100%. Like, I'm a whole extra show. It's different. And so I always knew that um, 9 times out of 10, if I was to marry, it would be that I would be watering myself down to be able to fit in this person's life and not that person watering themselves down or meeting me at my level. And I just never seen myself being able to do that. And so I think I was the runaway bride each time. Like, I'll break up and leave you a month before we were scheduled to get married. I pack up and just go, and everybody's like, "Hold on, wait a minute. I thought you guys are getting married." Like, nope, it ain't happening. Gotta go.
Gotta go.
Gotta go.
I have a good question for y'all. Oh, I just lost my train of thought. Oh no. Okay, I'm sorry. I really did. My mind went blank for a second. Do you think that in relationships there is one person that can love the other more than the other?
Yes,
sure.
absolutely. Yep. But if you think about it, like I said, like love is what you imagine it, what you believe it is. And so we have this thing that we were born and we start to learn about love and we want somebody to love us a certain type of way. And I don't think that you'll ever 100% get that type of way because that is something that you imagined and you created yourself.
I know. Yeah.
So when we always say like, well, he loves me, but he doesn't love me the way I want to be loved. Well, if we don't break it down and put it on paper like a blueprint, and half the time, even when we do that, we're confused of kind of, I'll tell Derek that he's suffocating me and smothering me and leave me the hell alone. And then I'll call him the next day and say, well, you haven't called and checked on me at all today. And he's like, what do you want? And so I think it's the same thing as when we think of how we want to be loved, it's just what we are creating within ourselves. And so for somebody to 100% hit that on the mark is probably unlikely to happen. Will it happen? It can. It's possible. Anything's possible. But I think that there's somebody that can get really, really close to that. And still your love will be different
than
that person's love.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you think of loving somebody, you might think like, oh, I love you, so I'm going to cook for you. I'm going to clean for you. I'm going to comfort you. I'm going to be there and support you and listen to you. That person might think like, she just wants me to be present. Mm-hmm. She wants me to protect her. She wants me to be a man and pay the bills, take out the garbage, wash the dishes every now and again, and clean the bathroom. That might not be what your vision of love is.
Right.
They're thinking that they're doing the job because they have their own vision of what it is.
So then how would someone know that they really do, in fact, love someone? Because or I should say not love someone, but that they are in love and that this person is loving them correctly. Because if, let's just say I paint a picture of what my expectations are of someone and then they're not doing them, how do I?
Is that about them or is that about you?
Right.
Good question.
And communication is the key, and it goes both ways. So if I tell you that, I like the blankets rolled down this type of way because it makes me feel more secure in life, You should have only heard that this makes me feel more secure.
You're like, yep.
You shouldn't have heard that I like the blankets folded down this way. Like, you should be looking for what it is that makes me comfortable and secure and safe. And I should be paying attention to your actions, because actions speak louder than words.
Yeah.
But I also have to understand that your actions are just that. And so I have to give you credit for, you might not have hit the mark 100% of folding it down the right way, but you attempted, you tried. And that
I
it might not be
agree with that.
perfect,
I have to agree with that.
as long as you tried.
I got the opportunity to experience my ex-husband write me a hell of a letter, right? And in the letter he wrote, it told me everything great about myself that he just couldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't be what it was for me. Now, 2 years ago, even a year ago, you may have heard me say, bash him, maybe even for it. But today, the way I perceive it is that it's okay, because see, he gave me the key and the freedom to understand that he was incapable of giving me what it was that I thought that I needed from him or wanted from him. He let me know that it was not me, and that I was okay, or he was just not what I needed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was never okay and understood that. And it wasn't like I was angry at him because, of the things he did. I was more so angry because I felt I invested all this time. And realistically, the letter, reading it now versus then, tells me everything that most women would never even get from an individual.
Yep.
I'm thankful for it. I thank him for it at this point. If I was to see him now, I used to think if I see him, I'm going to blow up, I'm going to lose my. No, if I was to see him now, it would be, I would thank him for it, because at the end of the day, you gave me the answers to everything that most women want to know when they're dealing with somebody. You did not know how to give me what I needed. You didn't know how to love me. You weren't capable of it. Ebony, you're going to need God when you're done reading this, because my God, I just can't do what it is you need me to do. And how many times do we get that? How often do we get that as women? We don't get that. We just are left wondering.
No, normally what we get is a guy that perceives himself to be able to do everything that you need him to do. And or like my last relationship, I swear to God, I thought he was just incapable of it. So I gave him grace for it. For as many years as we were together, I just thought that he is incapable of being this TV man that I imagine having in my life. And so I will let it go. And I will let it be, and I will just go ahead and accept him for who he is. And when I got tired of all of his BS and said, you know what, I'm done and I'm leaving, everything that I ever wanted him to be, he just showed up. And I told him, that is like a kick in the damn gut. Like, you just spit on me when I was in my lowest, and you're thinking that you're here, like showing up and you're going to be this great man that I thought you were incapable of being.
Yeah.
And what I learned from that is we also have to love ourselves enough to know what we will not tolerate. Like, there just needs to be those cutoff points of, if this makes me feel any type of way negative, hurts me, because love doesn't hurt at all. Love might be disagreeing, but it doesn't hurt. It doesn't feel like you just kicked my teeth out of my face.
Right.
It doesn't feel like I'm sick to my stomach because you went intentionally and did some things. If I allow somebody to treat me like that, I can't be mad at that person. I can only be mad at myself.
Yeah.
I have to be able to take the blame and the hit for that, because I have to look out for number one is me and protect me. And if I don't protect me, why should anybody else?
Yeah.
if I don't love me, how can anybody else?
I agree.
That's a good takeaway.
Very good. Very good.
This is a good podcast, y'all. Anything y'all want to let anyone know that's either watching now or watching the recording later, if they are kind of contemplating, is this the one for me? How do I know? Or is this not the one for me? And what should I do? Any takeaways for those individuals, ladies or men? Because we're on YouTube, Facebook, so anybody could be watching this.
I would say write down your pros and your cons. And if you have more cons than pros, it's time to reevaluate what it is that you're doing.
And don't be trying to erase stuff off of the cons and put it on the pros because you want it to look that way. Don't want it to look a certain way just because of what you want. You actually have to be able to get in tune with yourself to know, hey, or say no, because it's not going to change just because it's what you want. It doesn't change because of that. Some of us had to learn that the hard way. It doesn't work that way.
And a good learning lesson on that is if you have a boatload of cons and you still feel in your heart like you just don't want to give up with that person, then you go ahead and you give that person an ultimatum to make those adjustments and a time frame. And if they can't within that time frame, then that's showing you that they just are not willing and or incapable.
Or capable. Yep.
And
then you have to ask yourself the question Davina asked me in my last relationship. If this person is never able to change a day in their life from today going forward, would you deal with them forever? If the answer is no, you know what to do.
Let me tell you these words that my ex-spouse said to me. I am freeing you from this torment.
Ooh.
Okay? I'm freeing you from this torment. My God.
Mm-hmm.
My God.
You should never want to go through any pain, any abuse, whether it's emotional, mental, verbal, physical. You shouldn't have to. As a person, love should just feel like that love. Just how you love your sisters and your brothers, your mom, your dad, and your cousins. Like when you go through things, at the end of the day that I just went through that. And it's okay because at the end of the day, we're still going to be blood. We're still going to be family. It's the same thing in a relationship. You shouldn't be feeling like, you're at the bottom of the earth and this person just doesn't give a damn.
Yeah.
Nope.
All right, y'all. Looks like we are at overtime.
Overtime.
What?
No, we got prayer line in 7 minutes.
7 minutes.
Yep. So we appreciate y'all tuning in today or watching the recording later. We'll be back with y'all next week with another topic. If y'all have any topic ideas, let us know. Leave them in the comments. Put them on our page. Let us know. We're open for.
Isn't there something special about next week, though?
Mm-hmm. Are we gonna talk about it now?
Just throw it out there. Tell them.
Okay. Well, we are having a co-ed podcast next week, so that will be men and women will be on to give different perspectives. So please tune in for that. That's going to be an exciting conversation. So I am excited for that. That is going to be the topic of the domino effect. What happens when mama has a certain thing she got going on and teaches her children that, and in turn those children end up being a certain kind of way. So the domino effect is going to be a great conversation with our co-ed partners that we'll be talking to that day. So yes, and on the 19th we do have our last free women's community event, so please come out for that. The 23rd of September we have our Whiteout Sisterhood brunch, and October 7th we have our event that will be at Billy's, which is addressing loving yourself first.
Falling in love with you first.
Falling in love with you first. I knew I was going to forget something. But yep, we will continue with our weekly podcast. Also, we have some hot seat Saturdays coming up. So we do have our special guest this Saturday. Candace will be joining us, so look out for that.
We
And
also have August 13th, our Cocos and Combos, and we are doing For Color Girls.
yep,
That's Sunday.
yep,
That's this Sunday. That's this Sunday.
Yep, Sunday. Yeah, we gotta get a video out about that. Okay, we love y'all. Thank you for tuning in. Jump on the prayer line at 8 if y'all have not ever, or if you are always in there. We appreciate you. Come get a little guide with us, because we are there for that, and we appreciate y'all. All right, love y'all. Have a good night.
Good night.